This time around, 9 months later, I went down planning to take a bit of video, and unfortunately it didn't go to plan. The place is just simply unsafe. G'day. Last time I was down here, which was about a year ago, I noticed that a small piece of this wall that behind me had washed out of the DeSalis family cemetery. I reported it to Canberra Connect. They offered to call me back on their form, but they never did, and I just presumed that somebody had acted upon it. Well, a year later I've turned up and some barrier fencing's been put up and a couple of tarps thrown over the top of the exposed embankment wall, with a couple of rocks thrown over the top. And I think, well, after a year that's not much to have happened to stabilise this important site. The cemetery is pretty unique because in 1876 Leopold DeSalis' son, Leopold owned Cuppacumbalong, son died, and they went to bury him in his favourite spot, which is here, because of the views. And his brother George dug for over 24 hours, could only get 4 foot down in the composed granite for the grave. Anyway, as they learned subsequently, floods also removed the graves from this site, from the Murrumbidgee behind us. And they came up with a unique way 2 years later in 1878 when Charlotte, Rudolph's mother, died, and they decided to build up the embankment with a stone wall of stones. They carted down off Mount Tennant in horse and cart, and they filled the circular or oval embankment wall with soil from the river bank. This made digging graves easy, and it also stopped the floods from taking the graves away. Well, that brings me to the point of where we're at right now. If we had a big rain tomorrow and this water level raised up to this wall, it would just wash the entire graveyard away. It would all come gushing through. So I think after a year it's probably about time they thought about sending a couple of young blokes with strong backs down here and rebuild it and take it back to the condition it should be in. Anyway, don't know quite what to think about it quite yet, but I know I'll be saying something to Canberra Connect. Yeah. Well, I have had time to think about it, and perhaps I shouldn't have shot the messenger, and it has only been 9 months, which is still way too long. I should actually mention here that when I first turned up and had a look at this site, wombats were doing what wombats do, and they were digging underneath the embankment wall anyway. That, I think, has undermined the integrity of the wall, and when we got the big rains, I think that was just the nail in the coffin for it. And I shouldn't have shot the messenger, that is Canberra Connect. They obviously did pass the message on, but the next stage seems to have failed. I'll pursue it a bit further from here, but if anybody's got any ideas on how to go about this, drop a message down below. Cheers. Just down off the track, you'll find wombats are all the way along this river. So it's just their natural thing. That's going to eventually collapse the path one day, but anyway, you can't blame the poor old wombat.